Hello, and welcome to Practical Privacy. Here today with me, we have Marcelo Canha, Global Privacy Director and DPO for Organon. And the challenge we're going to look at today is how to design and implement a global privacy framework for a multinational organization. Welcome, Marcelo.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. So, this is no doubt a challenge that's going to resonate with many people. So, can you give us a little bit of context, let's say, around the challenge in particular that you were faced with?
Yeah. So I've chosen a challenge from the past because it is, I think it make more sense. So I was tasked before, and I'm not giving names to companies or people, um, to design a privacy framework by myself from scratch, from a market leader global organization with 10,000 employees, with presence with more than 80 countries, where I was responsible for compliance privacy laws in multiple jurisdictions. So we're taking the GDPR as gold standard, but still nuances from local privacy laws and whatnot. Um, but there was one problem. We had zero existing structure. So what is the goal? To create a single source of the truth, again, taking the GDPR as gold standard, that will also be applicable with those other jurisdiction and privacy laws. Um, Together with facing the challenge that the business doesn't know the legal requirements from the law, and the legal department doesn't know the technical requirements from uh, um, everything that needs to coexist. Um, and sounds exciting. It was really exciting, but for a team of two people, that was a really big challenge.
Yeah, exciting maybe, but daunting maybe more so.
Exactly, yes.
So let's say, what were the first approaches you took that you felt didn't work in the end?
I think that my approach was really ambitious. I tried and I created, and I got into the point, a really big, comprehensive, high detail framework that was mapping GDPR articles to the NIST controls, risk scoring, and governance dashboards. So my idea in my mind, the voices in my mind, was like, yeah, this is work. This is really good. This is really strong. Um, Technically, theoretically, it was brilliant. And I was chasing privacy peers, and they know who they are, and they love it. And I even got nominated in three categories for the Picasso Privacy Awards in 2022 when this started, which is really good, not only for my career, my professional, but for my ego, because I was the only one there that was nominated in three different categories that year. Um, but we had some walls that we faced internally, and I can say that it failed. Why did it fail? Firstly, the organization didn't have the resources for such a mammoth work. It was only two people, as I told you. Secondly, because the decision makers didn't have the eagerness, they didn't see privacy as a revenue driver. And I would quote someone that, like Voldemort, must not be named. Privacy doesn't generate revenue, and therefore our effort should be put on activities that brings money to the company. So
Quite common.
this person is not wrong, but
Yeah.
I think they wasn't seeing the whole picture. Um, and culturally, privacy wasn't a priority there. So I like to say that I was building a Ferrari for a company that needed a bicycle, but didn't even know how to ride a bicycle.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
So, okay, understanding mammoth challenge. So, how
yeah.
did you finally figure this out?
I decided to pivot. So and this was after a year of work. Instead of the full framework that was already built, um, and I don't know, maybe it was a good thing that it wasn't implemented because it wasn't company intellectual property in the end. So it was good for me, and I get that. Um, I decided to create a practical guide, something like a cake recipe for the business um, and for the privacy team. So I focus immediately on what is needed right now. DPIAs, robust, and as this is directed to privacy professionals, I won't mind explaining what those acronyms means. Training, day-to-day firefighting. What do the business needs to? What do the technical teams need to understand? What is privacy by design? Explained on more not pets or whatnot, but what do we need to do? More actionable items. Um, so it wasn't perfect, but it worked. And it taught me that simplicity often wins, and getting to the point that the good thing it wasn't company IP. Um, and if I can sell myself short real quick, this framework was the baseline and the foundation to create my book, um, which is something really good, not only for me, but I'm still hearing from privacy professionals that I've built up something that can go there, look, and build up their privacy frameworks based on too, which is something different that taking the GDPR, for example, because I've done um, how to improve privacy compliance through enterprise risk management that is mapping GDPR to the NIST privacy framework. So this taught me how to be more practical, at the same time, how to navigate and talk and translate those requirements throughout the business.
which is key. So, okay, now with hindsight, you did finally find the perfect solution, as you say. So, looking back, if you could do it again, what would you potentially do different this time?
First of all, I will start small and I will scale in a more gradual way. And then I secure sponsorship and trust my instincts to navigate internal politics instead of thinking that privacy is about framework. It's not about framework. It's about people, culture, and timing.
Yeah, 100%. And we hear that again and again. Yeah.
And again,
So, one key piece of advice that you would share with your peers.
this is something really important that I got from a mentor, specifically tied to the situation that buying is not just a word that coaches and influencers like to say. It is a strategy. Get to know the business, position yourself, make your voice heard, and don't fear resistance. As my father liked to say, revolutions don't start with permission; it starts with conviction. So get your voice there, but at the same time, make yourself being understandable. It's not just I need this because this isn't this. Compare your needs to the needs of the business and position yourself in the way that they will understand what you need so you can get a win and they can get a win.
I like it. I like it. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Marcelo. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to reading the book now, even more so.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you a copy next week.
Perfect. Perfect. You're on. So, thank you everybody else for joining today. I hope you enjoyed the session. And if so, please do subscribe and share. Until next time.